Luke looks like he's representing Victor Hovland's taste in
Well, I
t-shirts as
try.
well.
This is all I've got, and it's
Good effort.
florally, and the pink hopefully goes in with some of the flowers. But
Okay. Well, he's got to, is that from the Wimpy, that blouse? Did you steal that?
Yeah,
It is, eh? That's
just a glass,
definitely
a
from the
glass and a
Wimpy.
half. It's from the coffee shop next door.
Welcome back to another episode of your favorite golf podcast, the Misshits. Always tough to pronounce, especially on a Monday after a late night watching Bafana Bafana. There are a couple of misshits in that one. Luckily, we're not a soccer football podcast because that's all doom and gloom. But the golf world threw up another exciting week, chaps. Let's start off with a quick hello and state of the game. I haven't played, so my game's still rubbish. Matt Knight, you played yesterday.
Hey, didn't you play last week and play terribly? We didn't hear anything about Clavelli. Or where was it? Steenberg?
No, that's
Westland,
oh,
somewhere.
Steenberg. Oh yeah, just Steenberg. Oh yeah, my state of the game, I'm getting worse. Okay, carry on next.
Okay. Yeah, I played Coastal Downs yesterday. Wonderful course. We're talking about doing a little bit of architects of SA golf courses down the line. So I've been researching deeply into old Mr. Matkovich and his hard work. Guys, the greens were diabolical. I've said, I think I sent you a little photo with, we started on the 10th, which is, I think, universally acknowledged as a terrible hole, or the only bad hole really. And I had the green in two, back left, and there's a pin that none of us have ever seen there. Two of the guys lived on Cotswold for years, and I four putted, first one from on the green to off the green. I just crested the hill towards the pin, and it went all the way past and off the green, and then one other guy four putted, and another guy two chipped, and then three putted. So we all actually did pretty well up to the green, and that pretty much set the course for the rest of the day. Pretty decent tee to green. One lost ball on the 17th, but then made the mega bogey with the second ball. And but yeah, the greens were flipping hard, man. So anyway, but the game's alright. Not in the worst position. Shout out to my two of my closest mates who are busy flying right now to St Andrews to go play later this week for Jay's 40th. Happy birthday, big dog.
shame.
Super. You didn't get the invite.
I got invited. I had some other things going on. That old 24-1. It's difficult. It's tough times, man.
Man, it's like 2150 to 1. Anyway, let's move on to old Gorillas in the Mist, Travis Booth. You had a fun outing at Atlantic Beach, trying to hone the irons out of Atlantic Beach.
Yeah, well, it was my little boy's breakup day last week, Friday, so we bunked it, and I took him out for a little knock around, 9 holes, which was very entertaining. Yeah, Atlantic's beautiful at the moment. Like the greens they're obviously quick, but they're not overly firm, so you get a bit of checkup. Putted like an absolute durst though, so I've got a new one now that has been subbed in.
My word.
Yeah,
That'll do it.
that's just no, I've kind of got 3 on rotation. I like to just keep them on their toes. So if one's a bit mediocre, you swap another one, and then hopefully it sharpens the other one's focus in the cupboard. So yeah, but very lekker out there. 2 birdies, little 38s. Yeah, no real complaints. Hey,
Did you submit that score?
I did submit that score, Wade. I wish I hadn't,
checking.
because I know that we've got our little match play coming up soon. Probably should have kept that one in my pocket, but yeah, like a little 9-holer just to keep the pencil sharp, so to speak.
Chad, you say it was looking nice, but all the photos you said, it was looking nice in like a 2-meter circumference around you that you could actually see, right? Pure mist.
It was misty. I think we had about 25 meters of visibility, but luckily I'm more of a field player anyway, so it was fine. We had an idea of where she was going. My son got to drive the cart around in circles, which was lekker. But yeah,
beautiful,
very entertaining little morning.
And Luke, you haven't played golf. No. You're playing too much bowls. Boring.
Yeah, not a lot of golf. Well, actually, when's our next one? Because the next time it's with the Hosel Rockets, but we're hopefully changing the pairing up so that much like our posts that we post on Instagram, we'll keep the relationship building to a minimum, or lack of building. What should I say?
Right, and obviously we haven't had a PGA Tour winner, but we have got a playoff and some curious dress sense. I don't know who's dressed worse, Luke in his sister's range guard caps and maybe his sister's floral outfit, or The Autobots drawn on the top of Travis's.
I'm repping the Jay Lindbergh for my boy Victor. Hopefully he gets the job
Yeah.
done. Yeah, not my greatest work, but also not my worst. But yeah, I'm hoping. I'm surprised that they just literally play 18 in perpetuity. It's like flipping Groundhog Day. Like surely they can. If you finish up 18, it's all square. Take it back to 17. It just seems a bit odd to be plowing away on the same hole. Hopefully they get it done quickly. But yeah, go Norway.
How good is it having Victor Hovland back in the mix, man? I've missed him playing well, eh?
Honestly, I'm such a Victor Hovland fanboy. And it's been very distressing watching him lose his pip a little bit over the last 2 years. So it's nice to see him. He had a couple go left yesterday, which wasn't great, but for the most part, he's been very nice and consistent the last couple of tournaments. Making some putts, his driver seems to be working again. So hopefully it puts him in good shape, sort of leading up to the Open.
Nice to see that there's a whole bunch of Norway fans supporting him as well. They're giving the old Norway row.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, and as you saw with Wyndham Clark, I mean, not that the US fans like Wyndham Clark, but that they were cheering more for Scotty. But the same thing was happening with Victor. I mean, one of the putts he missed was a short one, and you heard someone in the crowd go, "Yeah!" So it's 2 weeks in a row where the US fans are showing their true colors.
I've got no problem with that, but you'll see my true colors if Scotty Scheffler downs Victor Hovland, because every time Scotty wins, I think a little bit of Travis's golf soul dies. So I just love it. Even though it's a terrible footwork, but Travis drew a line in the sand long ago with Scotty, and I'm sure that Scotty is he loves to win these kinds of events, right? These are his bread and butter.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, Wade. Like, when I made that bet with you, I will, for full disclosure, I will admit I was wrong. I made the bet when Scotty was probably making about 40 putts around, and didn't look like he was going to be getting any better anytime soon. So yeah, full accountability. You've got your bottles of red wine out of me. But yeah, again, looking a bit shaky. I bet Wade that Scotty would never win a major.
Sheesh.
Look, there were a couple of extenuating circumstances. One was I was getting a bit pissed off with the hyperbole, hearing about all of these amazing stats. Look at his strokes gain, look at his strokes gain. I was like, if his strokes gain so good, why doesn't he win anything? And then after a couple of beers, Wade managed to goad me into making an extreme statement. And I've been paying for it ever since, unfortunately.
It's a thing of great beauty. Now, quickly, because we have the tendency to talk a bit too much, but there's 3 things we need to cover before we get to our main segment of today's episode. So 1, the PGA Tour's new format. 2, Bryson's blow-by-blow video. And then 3, I'm just going to slip it in there. That is the wrong use of words. The Phil Mickleson thing that's just come out. We mentioned golf carts. Imagine how much money kids could make driving around golf carts, because Phil's Track My iPhone was rolling around some of his home clubs. Unbelievable scenes. Let's start with that. Phil's fall from grace is being insane. It's mega.
Yeah, someone was saying the other day, you got that classic, like, who's going to hit the tee ball at the Masters, who's the kind of that honorary generation. And it feels like those guys are, heading towards the end. And then below that, you do have a bit of a tier of, like, oaks you love to see that slightly older generation, like whether you like Faldo or not. But then Phil and Tiger should have been that, right? Like, there should have been these, like, stalwarts that you pull out to be the ambassadors of the game that we all grew up and were inspired by for decades, like into their 70s and 80s. And they've just both, for different reasons, blown up their legacy. And it's really sad, like, more than anything.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting as well when you look at the way that the 2 guys have been respectively treated. I mean, now obviously, what Phil's done or been accused of allegedly is beyond the pale.
Yeah, good. Our lawyers are stoked with your referencing there.
Correct. Well, you're the lawyer, so you just keep us on the straight and narrow. Yeah, the alleged incidents. Obviously beyond the pale, not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. And obviously rightly so, treated like an outcast. But then by the same token, you've got Tiger, who's had some pretty shady incidents of his own over the years. And he's kind of now trotted up fresh out of whatever kind of recovery program he was in, and then a week and a half later, they've got him up on stage announcing this new structure. So it's interesting, the kind of dichotomy between the way that the guys have been treated. It's haven't quite figured that one out, but it is very odd.
I think it's mainly because Tiger had to go through the public shaming of standing up and saying, this is what I did with how many people. Phil hasn't done that yet. So I think there may be some slither of redemption waiting for Phil to be like, he's human and he's made some horrible mistakes, but he's never owned up to his stuff. The gambling, the insider trading, and now Pat Perez is all the alleged stuff. Is please T's and C's apply, something, I don't know. Like he's never owned up to any of it. It's always been he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and now he's shown us that he's definitely not. So he's kind of suffering in his own silence at the moment, and I feel bad for him. He should just come out and do the world tour apology tour, but I feel worse for his wife, who has to stick by all accounts there's some health issues and things like that. So it's terribly messy, and I suppose the journos are just doing their job and the fans are just reading it and engaging with it as anything can be. But it's an absolute mess for Phil, and he's not playing in the Open. That statement came out like a couple of hours after Shipnuck's thing, and I think he's played in all of them. And then now there's the whole thing of, is he welcome at the past champions things? He's already shot his mouth off with all the live stuff, and now this. So he shouldn't be treated any differently to Tiger, considering they trying to match each other in a little match play of bad decisions.
Yeah, I mean, it's I wonder now. I mean, do you think Phil's played his last major in an honorary or competitive capacity? Is that him done?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, hard to see a way back unless he puts his hand up. I mean, the one thing about American fans is that they love a redemption story, and and I feel like he's getting terrible advice at this point. You put your hand up, as you say, you take accountability. And you work towards making things right. I don't think that there's no future left for him, but he's got to put the work in, and he's got to take a little bit more accountability for what's happened.
But now, do you do it sooner than later, or do you let it simmer and then more things come out, and then this and that? Maybe they're going, well, because it's allegedly, the lawyers are going, well, we'll find this and that to prove that it didn't happen. And it might not have happened.
Well,
but,
there's recordings from Ashley Perez, so I mean, of him apologizing. But anyway, we mentioned the word accountability. I'm shifting over to Bryson DeChambeau and him and his version of accountability. Luke, as the youngest of the pod four-ball here, talk us through that. Did you manage to watch the whole thing? What are your thoughts on?
I did watch the whole thing, and obviously sometimes when you're watching it, the little comments start coming up as you're watching it, and the one that came up that struck me was the video only starts at 31 minutes and 43 seconds of the 34-minute video, whatever it is. So I got a little bit tired of telling us how he remembered exactly which shot he played and what kind of shot and which club, and basically his editor or whatever it was said, what do you think about people saying that you've got too much on your plate and you're focusing too much on that and the next thing? And I think he's a little bit delusional, saying, listen, I've been doing that, so not much has been different. He just hasn't been getting the, if he calls it luck, or the results for the work that he's been putting in. And he also said that something's not feeling right in his swing, but it just shows how technical the man is, and he's so thing about the finer details when
back to the basement.
Exactly.
A little bit more tinkering, crazy.
Nothing a little bit more tinkering can't fix. I mean, I think the main sort of thread, the narrative throughout Bryson's career has kind of been, he's going to do things his own way. He's like solely single-minded and focused on improving his golf game. And we're at a point now where that's not his only focus. So to come out and say, and I'm just not getting the breaks it's not honest. I don't think that he's being honest with himself either. There's no way that this stuff doesn't take a toll. You know, you're going into these boardrooms, you're talking to all these PE guys. There's all of this
And to
conjecture
sound
about
smart.
the future. Yeah, correct. You know, the amount of emotional and mental energy that's got to be taken out of him. And then, you know, the only genuinely competitive rounds you're playing for the most part are in these majors, where all eyes are on you, and you know, quite a few people hoping for you to fail. So I think, yeah, it's disingenuous to say I'm just not getting the bounces, because it is. There's definitely, whatever he's going through right now has got a number of different causative effects, and yeah, he just needs to kind of be honest about that with himself. That's the starting point to kind of recovering his golf game a little bit. He's not going to find it in the garage. He's not going to find it on the range. He's going to find it in cleaning up developing a bit of clarity of purpose, which at the moment he just doesn't seem to have. He's all over the show.
And hey, you're only human to go, I expected and had this kind of income projected over the next few years, and it might very well be in jeopardy. He can say all he wants that he's fine to be a creator, but I mean, the millions and millions, tens of millions that were kind of laid out ahead for the next few years are pretty much gone. Like, so that would weigh on any one of us, you know. Like, and if you told me that I might not earn 100 million this year, I'd also be a little bit stressed, you know.
My big takeaway was that he must be so painfully single, because there's no golf widow or spouse that would listen to a shot by shot. And let me tell you, did I not hit a great drive on the third hole on Thursday? I mean, you only played 36, mate. Like, that's kind of where I stopped. I was like, I can't be asked to sit through a whole thing of, I hit a slight fade here and a draw there, like. And you missed the cut. Don't talk about luck when you miss the cut.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it's a little bit like my wife. There's been times in my life where I've tried to walk Mrs. Booth through like a round. You know, you've come away from a league fixture or something, and her eyes kind of go dead. And I've always thought, shit, why are you not interested in this? And it all makes sense now.
And speaking of someone who's a little bit, he's not bored, but he's certainly not interested in doing it the real way. The PGA Tour's new series, mixed reviews on that. But before that, that night, Rory decided he's not bothered by playing the minimum number of events on the PGA Tour. What are your takes on Rory right now not signing up for a signature event, going to play Birkdale rather, and then obviously using a loophole to get out of his minimum events?
Remember how stoked we were when we found out it wasn't going to be a size 2-pot, but a 3-pot system? There's a 3-track PGA system. There's like the entry level, the championship level, and Rory level, which is, I'm kind of going to tell you when I want to play, and you can keep coming up with excuses because I want to go play in Australia, and I want to go play in India, and I want to go to places that I've never been. And I think what he's saying is, number one, my career has earned me the right to do this. But number two, I put you oaks on my back and went to war almost single-handedly for like a year, put my individual performances second in line to fight for the PGA Tour, and you just royally screwed me over like in a day. Just flip the switch. Actually, maybe we will jump in with the Oaks that we would say we would never partner with. So I think he has gone, thank you for wheeling me out as the head boy of the PGA Tour. Not happening anymore. I'm not going to do what Rory wants to do. And I am very much here for it. I love the fact that he's going to kind of carve out his own world tour, because I think he's pretty much earned the right to do it. And if he loses his PGA Tour status and isn't going to, look, maybe this idea of them going to these places for a 12-man match play or 16-man match play where they've never been before might swing it for him. But I think the PGA Tour would lose a lot more in Rory not being there than Rory's going to lose by not fulfilling the minimum obligation. So I'm stoked for the man. I love him.
Yeah, and I think there's also, you go on Twitter and there's all of these kind of live accounts talking about how seem to be relishing in the fact that he's like flouting the rules and Rory's got a different set of rules. I think ultimately he's the guy that's earned the right to a bigger picture. And at the same time, he's still going to play 20 plus times this year. Yes, he's gonna miss the minimum number, but once his DP World Tour schedule kicks in, he's going to be all over the place. And I don't think that you can credibly talk about growing the game and espousing the line that lives growing the game and growing the game globally is a good thing. And then on the other hand, attack Rory for playing all over the world. He's in Australia, he's in India, he's in the UK, he's played the South African Open before. he's genuinely attempting to grow the game, and he's doing things that
He
interest him.
loves
And
golf,
yeah,
man. He loves
yeah,
golf. Man.
he's earned the right to do that. And every tournament that he plays in, whether it's on the PGA Tour or whether it's globally, has they see a positive impact on viewership and a positive impact on sort of people attending. So yeah,
For sure,
I
for
think
sure.
it's 100% within his rights to do that, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'd love it if he played less
You
on
got-
the PGA.
You guys
Hey,
are
wait, welcome back.
such Rory fanboys. I was in shock. I was here the whole time. I mean,
Yeah, you look
And
really bored, but you just
yeah, it's just Kenilworth Wi-Fi, as you said. Yeah, listen, I agree with both of you. I think you guys make some great points. I think Rory can have his cake and eat it. I mean, simple as that.
Yeah,
And if
simple.
he doesn't want to, I mean, he is like, take away all the rankings and everything. He's up here, and Scotty Scheffler's like over there, and it's the tour would be almost meaningless without him. I think that's where we got to the stage where Rory is right now in his career. And he also said like he's approaching 40, which is not easy, and he's going to play it his way, which is cool. I'm all for Rory making his
he's
mind
the
up.
only one who can do it. Brooks can't do it. Scotty can't do it yet. He might be able to do it in another 3-4 years, but he's the only one who can go, I've done it, you know?
But the difference between Rory and Scotty is, for me anyway, is that we've grown up with Rory. We've seen him, come through everything, all the different phases, and Scotty's only just getting started. He hasn't had a 10-year career yet. Someone like DJ, maybe, he was quite a stud for America, but then the live thing kind of blew that whole reputation thing for him. So I think Rory's the only guy. Rory is the closest thing to Tiger, and I'm not sure that we'll see, maybe if Scotty goes and gets to like 10 or 8 majors or something, we might see that. But Rory's the boss. Did you have like a quiz for us? I mean, we never know what you're going to come up with in these things.
I do have a little quiz, and it's a segue into the women's PGA, which we need to touch on for a minute. So here's what I've done. We before the major, $13 million purse major, which is pretty significant for women's golf. Well done for KPMG for really taking those purses forward and bringing a whole lot more eyeballs to the game. So obviously Nelly's was having a heck of a year. She was trying to do the three-peats, 3 majors in a row. And for a little while there on Sunday morning for them, late evening for us, it looked like she was maybe going to have a little run at it. But here's what I wanted to quiz you guys on. She's number 1 in the Rolex women's ranking. I'd love you to try and see how many. Let's try and get to 5 other names in the women's top 10 world rankings, because we just got to stretch our brains here a little bit. Who you got, guys? Who have you got in the top 10 best players of
Travis,
women's
this is
golf
all on you,
right
mate.
now?
Yeah,
Travis is not there.
Okay.
Travis is number 12 at the moment.
Okay, I think. All right, Gino Titacool's 1.
Number 2,
She's
bro.
up
Great
there.
shout.
Yeah,
She's the next
number
one.
2.
That's my boy.
Yeah.
That's my boy. Come, Travis,
Jeez.
dig deep.
I think
Never in doubt.
Charlie Hull will be top 10.
Charlie Hull, number 4. Very good, bro. I like this. Another young UK lady or British lady is also in the top 10. That's a little cue there.
Yeah.
Is that Lottie Wode?
Lottie Wade at 5. Very, very good.
Okay.
That's good, man.
Jeepers creepers, you're holding my
He
feet to
knows
the
his
fire
stuff.
here.
Think about siblings. Who you got siblings? Yeah, who's the chef's sister?
Yeah, Minwee Lee sister,
Minji.
yeah, obviously.
Yeah, Minji Lee.
Minji Lee.
Where's she?
Minji Lee at number 9. She's at number 9. And then the ones we've missed are Hyuju Kim, Royang Hin, Miyu Yamachitsa, Si Young Kim, and Lydia Ko. And I think the greater point I wanted to make here was I feel like women's golf has great players and poor storylines, man. Like just poor telling of the story and framing of the background and putting things against each other. Like the men's game does such a good job of going, here's some people that we're profiling and why. And I watch quite a lot. Like I really, really enjoy watching the courses they go to. Their game's a little bit, the irons and hybrids and long irons they're having to hit is a whole lot more similar to like our distances and stuff. But man, they're just so bad at some of these stories and these names getting out there. And so I watched the highlights. I watched a whole bunch this weekend. At the end of it, she's got a fantastic name. Yu Hei Ron. ran away with it. And she was 12th in the rankings before, so she's going to vault up into the top 10. But good job, Travis. Very proud of you, bro. You dug deep there and you smashed it.
Go ladies.
It's
fantastic.
There's a lot of information in that under that JL Capoviz.
I spend far too much time online, boys.
Chronically online. I love it.
Yeah, I would have thought Lydia Ko's been around for forever though. So I thought
Lydia's 11th. Lydia's 11th. Lydia 11th, Gabby Lopez 13, Lauren Coughlin 14, Angel Yin 16. They've been around for a while. But yeah, it's there's some really cool stories and some journey women that have been around for ages, some cool young bucks. What Nelly's doing is like pretty historic. So I think just telling those stories a bit more and getting it into the public ears would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, we can say that the leader on the European tour is actually the South African Cassandra Alexander. So she's come second a bunch of times, bunch of close misses, but I think she's one for the future. There was the previous major, like I was getting ready to write a story, and then she bombed in the third round, but she's up there. Seems to have a very good head on her shoulders. Has a good it's the whole long. It's like very long. So yeah, so that's obviously going to be a factor in women's game going forward, as you mentioned with the the hybrids and whatever. But the accuracy is unmatched. I mean, they're also so straight. Yeah. All right, let's get to the most exciting part. Hopefully there's a little bit of banter. Hopefully there's some judgment. Hopefully there's some frustration. All the good things that our WhatsApp group brings out. We're going to talk now major winners, who has made the most of their abilities, trajectory, etc., and who's made the least. Major winners. Who would like to go first?
I know. Who wants to put their hand up? Go for it, Matt. I know
Luke,
you'll have put some thought into this one.
No, let's put Luke under the spotlight.
Start with Lukey. All right, lovely.
Are we starting with over or are we starting with under?
Do both. We're just going to roast you for 5 minutes. It's
okay,
fine.
So my overachievers are one that's, you can call him overachiever only because it's happened recently and he hasn't really done too many things maybe before or after that, but Aaron Rye. Going back to that thing of the storytelling, Matt, I mean, he wins a major and all of a sudden within that next week, his backstory, where he was born, his family roots and all that sort of stuff. And then
Wolverhampton Wanderers, boys. He's from Wolverhampton like me.
The week after that, it's radio silence, and it's been sort of radio silence since that win. I haven't really seen him. He might have come in the top 10 the week after that, but since then he's been Norman nowhere. Which is quite sad because
you're putting him in the he got one, he ain't got to get another one. Like you're nailing your colors to the mast here, but
that's
quite early.
Listen,
that's quite early.
It is quite early, but listen, as you say, we're a pot of bold decisions and bold choices. And then my other one is Y.E. Yang. Who could forget that 2009? What was it, a PGA or was it a US Open against
Open,
Tiger? And he went toe to toe with Tiger, and I think it's fair to say he taught him a lesson. He was unbelievable, and I think he's on seniors tour now. I think, if not like not playing anymore.
Yeah. So, if you're gonna get one, let it be one where you take down Tiger, right? Like what a thing to say.
Exactly.
Also responsible for, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, probably the greatest bunker drill anyone's ever seen. I'm not sure if you've seen the video of Y.E. Yang teaching someone how to hit the bunker, and he's just smashing his wedge into the sand. Unbelievable
like
stuff.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And your underachievers?
First one's gonna have the same name as me, Luke Donald. I think he was world number one for quite a bit at one stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just hasn't. I don't think he's won one, has he? So with a swing like that, you kind of want someone to be winning a lot more than a lot less. Lee Westwood's another one. I mean, back when I was growing up, obviously I'm still younger than you guys, but I grew up with similar names, and his name was mentioned almost every single week. and you're thinking, well, this oak must have won it all, and he just hasn't. So very sad.
I don't know. Trevor, if you struggle with your putting and rotate, watching that guy putt, like he would miss the cup completely from like a foot and a half, like regularly, like on the weekend in majors. It was just so devastating to watch. So devastating.
Yeah, used to be devastating. I must be honest. I take a bit of pleasure out of it now, considering the villain arc that he's gone down.
The English Phil Mickleson, allegedly.
Yeah. Yes, allegedly.
No, whoa, easy. It's interesting though that Luke's gone with 4 non-Americans. And I wonder if that plays a factor in trying to. Well, when you win, it's like more surprising than when you don't win. You know, like, is there something that, you know, if Westy and Donald grew up on the PGA Tour only, would they have maybe got used to some different kind of courses and maybe got over the line? So that's quite it's just a little
similar route as what Rory's done.
Well, I think a lot of it's also exposure as well. I mean, if you take a guy who was on my list before we trimmed it to 2, Padraig Harrington, you know, you look at him and you think, geez, mediocre talent. God knows how he's managed to scrap 4 majors out of this, just pure work ethic. The guy's got 42 wins all over the world. He's by no means a scrubber. I think there's just a scenario where there's this proliferation of American media and American stories about American players. And a lot of the time, the European guys get caught in the undertow. If Lee West would have been born in Florida, you know, he'd be a creature of myth, you know?
No, I was just going to say, like, maybe it is because we watch a lot of the DP World Tour, but like, if you think about the greatest ever without a major, like, we think we go to Monty and we go to Westy and Luke Donald, and now we're saying actively, like, Fleetwood's up there, but also, like, all British guys. So, like, I think our brains do go there a little bit, but you're right, there's something definitely in the, like, trying to go across the pond and win. Like, it's just trickier, you know?
Trav, who you got?
Right. So I'll start with my underachievers. So let me give you a couple of stats here. Looking at golf data, top 3 peak skill ever in the database. Best driver of his era by a clear shot. 331 weeks at world number 1. 2 majors. Greg Norman. So he's my number 1 underachiever, noted for probably the most infamous meltdown next to Jean van der Walt in golf. Yeah. Leading by an enormous amount of strokes going into that final day at the Masters. Obviously coughed it away. But yeah, just a tremendously talented guy that never managed to get it done twice in the majors. When you consider how much he won, his peak index was sort of 3 shots above average. Just an unbelievable talent, unbelievable ball striker. He's had 8 major runner-ups versus 2 wins. And then, yeah, obviously that infamous six-shot collapse where Nick Faldo managed to smockle a green jacket.
You mentioned the 2 biggest collapses. The third one for me is Jordan Spieth at the Masters. But I can vividly remember those falling apart. Like they were just like heartbreaking, man. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's because I had Danny Willett at 66-1. So I remember it too.
Let's not put that out there for you. Wait, I knew you'd want to tell that story one more time.
Wait, were you even allowed to gamble? Were you even allowed to gamble back then?
Of course. I'm old soul. I'm an old
When
Willett.
did he win?
Yeah. He's 40 now, bro.
16. 2016? When was it?
2016.
Yeah, I think it was 2016.
Was it 2016 that he won?
Yeah,
I would have been allowed to gamble even.
All right. So number two on my underachievers list, I've got Dustin Johnson, DJ. Rated, obviously reached world number 1. His skills composition was off the charts, top 20 ceiling, basically across the entire 40-year list on Data Golf. Just obviously massive driver of the golf ball. When he was putting well, he was putting well. 24 PGA Tour wins. He's won all 4 of those WGCs back when they were a thing. Just an immense talent, and at his peak looked like a guy that you could not beat. And managed to end up with 2 majors. Obviously, one of them being, the COVID Masters, which the course was playing about 3 or 4 shots easier. And yeah, just a tremendous talent that probably should have got another 2 or 3 if he hadn't gone to live, I'd say. Obviously, joined the other tour and just fell off.
And that one Sandy bunker penalty when Karma won. So He's
Yeah.
kind of
So there
maybe
was that
robbed of
one,
one there.
and then was it Chambers, I think, or Whistling Straits, where he three putted on that 18th green to give Jordan
I
Spieth
think,
the
Yeah.
major. It
I
was
think
Chambers,
that was Chambers Bay.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
yeah.
We know that because we saw Brandon Grace hit that one bad drive.
Yes, he smacked it onto that railway
to the
track.
railway line. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started off with 3. Obviously, eliminated Padraig Harrington. Now we've talked about him, but I've got 2 here. One is Mr. Angel Cabrera. Over the last 40 years worth of data, does not crack the 200 best stretches. So at his absolute peak, he was not one of the top 200 golfers of all time.
Sheesh.
Despite that, beat Tiger at Oakmont. Obviously won the green jacket in the playoff in 2009. Since then, obviously he's had some challenges. Went to jail for a couple of years for domestic abuse. But then off the back of that, came back onto the Champions Tour and has since won twice since 2025. But again, a guy who came up from very little in terms of his background, used to caddy, taught himself the game. And then, somehow through grit and obviously packs and packs of cigarettes, if you'll recall the footage of him smoking and dropping durries all over Augusta, managed to win a Masters. So, the purest overachiever on the board for me, not even close. And then number 2, I've got Zach Johnson. Just an absolute wedge and putter merchant, just really mediocre ball striker, pop gun off the tee. And somehow managed to convert those weaknesses into a Masters where he beat Tiger in 2007, and then obviously won an Open in 2015. Also on the record as being possibly in the conversation for the worst ever Ryder Cup captain after his team went over to Italy and got spanked 16.5 to 11.5. But just a guy who, without those majors, I think we'd struggle to remember his name. That's kind of my list, rounding it off, really. I've got a couple
What
of
do you mean?
honorable mentions.
He's the you lost the course guy. The most famous golf meme of all time.
We've lost the course. And then since then, obviously, there's been a couple of incidents. I mean, taking some notable abuse at Augusta after losing the Ryder Cup and then turning around and flicking the fans. And we haven't heard much of him since then. He hasn't been in the running for any kind of captaincy position since then. But all in all, considering his respective limitations, especially in the modern game, really impressive. He managed to squeeze 2 majors out of it.
At 2 great venues.
Yeah.
2 iconic
And like
venues.
not two PGAs, like some incredible overachievers whose names I won't mention till way goes. But a Masters and an Open. It's like unbelievable, man.
I'm going to go then because you've mentioned my name. So my overachievers are for very different reasons. So Bubba Watson for me is an overachiever. For a guy that cannot hit the ball straight, he has done phenomenally well. Like even now, you just watch him, everything is just curving in from all angles, like self-taught, and he's done damn well, made a huge career, is considered to be a really good bloke, very charitable, done well of course with giving back to his communities and whatever. But on the course, to win 1 Masters, you can flick it. You can't flick 2. I'm sorry, you can't. The fields are too good. The course is set up so tough, and it's it's not controlled like the US Open is, but it's fairly controlled. Maybe he dominated the par 5s a little bit, and they've since lengthened the Masters. They used to Tiger-proof courses, but Bubba's kind of in that thing. Did somebody tee up that ball that time that he hooked it out the pound straw to beat Louis Oosthuizen? Yeah, probably did. But I'm going to let that one. Yeah,
Allegedly.
I mean, and I had money on Louis on that occasion as well. So I lost some money. But anyway, I think Bubba's had a phenomenal career. I think he's overachieved.
I know you were on a call with Louis. Did he ask you to mention that Bubba tee up?
No, he did not. And then
Allegedly,
the
he
next
cut that out.
alleged. And then the next overachiever, I think, is John Daly. The wild thing. I mean, how he has managed to do what he's done, living his lifestyle, is just an ode to the weekend golfer. Like he's everybody's, no practice, cigarettes, beers, lived his life. but managed to stay compass mentis for long enough to bang home a couple of majors. I think in today's era, would he have done that? I don't think so. I think everyone is far more precise about their pre-games, their gym, their health, their wellness, mental state, etc. Like who's the modern day and John Daly? Like I think maybe the closest
Harry
guy could
Higgs.
be. Yeah, and I mean he's not going to win anything. He's not going to win a major. So
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe someone like Dustin because he's had some interesting pastimes too, allegedly, and from whatever you read on Twitter.
Those stairs, steep staircase, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think John Daly wrote himself into golf folklore and is kind of just living the legend now as he goes on, and good for him. My unders are both named Justin, Justin Thomas and Justin Rose. And I know that Justin Rose has blocked me on Twitter, but that was a long time ago. I'm not anti Justin Rose. I do like him. I think he's a great guy. I think he's got a great golf swing. I'm cheering for him. I just think that he should have won more than one major. Like
Absolutely.
lost two playoffs at the Masters. He's a perennial challenger, but he hasn't gotten over the line. And as he gets older, is Birkdale maybe his last, or the next Masters his last real shot? We don't know. It's I don't know if I'm going to make that prediction, but it's tough to see him getting more than one. Absolute legend of the game, and he'll have in Europe a phenomenal history, but should have won more. And then obviously a very smart and wise golf pundit threw Justin Thomas into the equation in our chat, and 2 PGA championships for a guy that's got everything in his game. And it's also been quite a long time now. Yeah, he's got majors for quite some time, and I think that pressure's stacking up quite big time. And was it that spring break with him and Jordan and Smiley and Ricky that was sort of the beginning of the end? Did something happen there? Like not anything nasty, but something in the water. Like
Allegedly.
Smiley's the commentator.
Yeah.
Smiley's the commentator. Ricky's not going to win a major, and with Jordan the roller coaster, who knows? Too soon to write him off, but still.
I think you can, and it's interesting, as like we talked about in the chat, you could make a case for him being an underachiever and an overachiever, because if you think about how long he's been cuck now relative to how long he was good, it's pretty equal periods of time. So is he reverting to the mean, or is he, did he just have a hot streak? And this is the core of my Scotty argument as well, Wade. It was like, a 3 to 5 year purple patch is fantastic, but does that guarantee you great status? The guys who've really, to my mind, who've made their mark in the game have been there for decades. Justin Rose for me is a far more significant historical figure than a Justin Thomas. So was it a purple patch? Is he really that good? Don't know. Time will tell.
And I was going to say, I'm happy to make my bold statement and say JT was very lucky to get 2, and he ain't getting another one. He's a PGA merchant, if you look at his top 10s, and he's just not a major guy, man. I know that he wants to be, and he wants to be the Ryder Cup guy, and he wants that so much. Like, I think he wants what Rose has got in terms of Rose's longevity, Rose at the Ryder Cup. Like, I just don't think he's going to get another one. I think both of them were pretty average wins. Mito Pereira handed him one. And the other one was, also a little bit of a flash in the pan kind of major. I don't think he's going to be a factor on weekends and the big tournaments going forward.
I love it now because now I'm invested in him. I hope he flipping says you guys right. A guy that can win, 5 times in 1 year. I mean, that's one hell of a small window of purple patch, if that's what you guys are calling it. I think he's had some wrist injuries. I think it'll never be rosy what rosy is in terms of the grand overall picture, because the Ryder Cup slants that for anybody that's not American, right? Like we can see past the Star Spangled Banner. I think Rosie's career is going to go down as a great one. But yeah, Justin Thomas, for a guy that promised so much, should have won a lot more. Was he a flat track bully? Time will tell. I reckon I could see him winning something else. I mean, his ball trajectory and ball flights, if he clicks 1 week, good week at Augusta, he could challenge there. He's long enough. Yeah, we'll put a pin in that one, and I can't wait for him to prove you doubters wrong.
Should we say if he does, should we have a little bet, the next 3 years, Wade, you and I? 12 more majors.
Yeah.
Plus this, 30
Yeah,
more majors.
yeah, 12 more majors.
Okay, you got to fly me down to play in Cape Town, or I got to fly you up to play in KZN. We'll figure it out.
Who you got, Matt?
So yeah, I've stuck to my overs and unders, all one-time Masters winners. So that's the only major that they've got. This whole conversation started with what seemed like opposing thoughts, which is on our WhatsApp chat. How hard is it to get to 2 majors? It's such a big deal, and yet how can some guys only be at 2 or only be at 1? And so it's almost just like you look at it differently depending on the player. But I got 2 massive overachievers that the only majors was a master, which I think if you're only going to get one is definitely the one. One is our beloved Trevor Immelman, beautiful South African, head of the ODWGR, one of my favorite commentators to listen to. But man, oh man, oh man, did that guy luck into a major. I'm so glad he did, and he should ride it forever. He's there with the green jacket, going to every dinner from here into eternity. But I was looking at his Wikipedia major page, and I'm just like, the guy was just a non-factor outside of that 1 week. 2 other top 10s in his whole career, but it all came together at the most kind of sacred of ground, and Trevor Immerman leapt up way beyond his skill level and stole a Masters. So good on him, man. The second one is, we talked about him a little bit, Danny Willett. Danny Willett also, I don't know how he did that. I don't know how Jordan Spieth managed to
He's a
hit
good
reverse.
boy.
He's a good boy. Yeah, he's still dining out to that 66 to 1. I managed to get Brooks at 50 to 1 when he won his first one, which I thought was incredible. But 66 to 1, what a thing. Did you watch that live? Were you up for the collapse?
Yeah.
Now, I think that like that last 12 holes at Augusta can do something mentally for a person's career, and I think it kind of did that a little bit for Spieth, for Norman certainly, and has obviously made other great success stories like Danny Willett, who just kind of stayed the course, did slightly better than everybody else, and has a green jacket, which is just, I think he is going to be one of those names where in 30 years' time people are like, how on earth did that happen? So those are my 2 overachievers. 2 underachievers that also have only one major, and they happen to be masters. Of course, Mr. Adam Scott. You talk about longevity, you talk about mechanics, you talk about his game being able to travel everywhere. I'm looking right now at this Wikipedia grid from 2011 to 2015. 11 top 10s, including his win. So close so many times. And I can't remember who said it earlier. If he just had ordinary putting days on weekends at majors, he should have 3 to 4. How he didn't even get to 2 is just beyond me. But still now, I mean, he's getting called and predicted by someone in this group to potentially win another one. He's just got so much game and skill. And it's so sad to me that he probably is going to end his career with one. The second, in a similar vein, Hideki, what a beautiful Masters that was. I loved watching him and his caddy wrap that thing up. But man, his ball striking, his tee to green, his everything else except for his putting was just so good. And I don't know how he didn't manage to put it all together one other weekend, because he's got the game to go to US Opens and tough conditions. He likes the attritional stuff. He can play in any weather. He goes all over the world and plays anyway. How on earth he didn't get a second, I just don't know. And I hope that he isn't past his best now, because I got a lot of love for Hideki. Quick honorable mention for Patrick Reed. And we know that, Augusta suits lefties and those who draw the ball naturally. But how's this? He has 9 top 10s in majors, 5 of them at the Masters within a 7-year stretch. He's just unbelievable from like 2018 through to 2025 at Augusta. Always a factor there. I don't think that you could say that he's an underachiever, because he hasn't been around in enough of the others. But man, what an Augusta specialist, and what a cool thing to be able to say, I got one and I contended there over and over and over again. So yeah, that's me.
Brilliant. I would like to maybe add a topic of, which guys are done and not done. Will they get another major? Or, someone like a Hideki, he was a challenger for so long. And now it seems like I don't really think about him when it comes to majors. I don't put him in my golf champs team. You know, with
Yeah.
the, you know, I'm a big Sung J M guy because I feel like he's going to make cuts and he's more reliable than what is Hideki going to dish up. So that could be a good
Yeah.
topic. And obviously,
Yeah.
Trav's put on the top 10 hardest golf courses on the agenda. So we got plenty more to get through before next month's the Open Championship. I nearly called it another name, which would be wrong. Before next month's Open or the Open, and definitely never ever the British Open. But chaps, enjoyable as always. Luke, work your magic. We expect double the amount of followers this time next week.
One can only hope. Also, I'll put in the comments to skip to a certain place if Mr. Luke Carraba from the Range Goats happens to show this to Bubba Watson.
Yeah.
So,
Shout out, Bubba.
otherwise, there goes our Bubba shout out.
Nice. All right, chaps. Have a lekker afternoon. We'll chat again.